Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about some new product listings that showed up on Amazon for some upcoming Arcade1Up product. We'll kind of disseminate some information, the need to know facts and details about these products and more coming up right after this. First things first, we have the NBA JAM Countercade. Let's jump right into it. As you can see, two-player setup. You got joystick on the left, joystick on the right. It's got some wings, if you will. And you're looking at here, and you're obviously going to probably notice first thing right out of the gate, the buttons look different. And I should point out that this is a digital render mock-up and not an actual photo sample of the product sitting in a photo booth. So this is subject to change, and honestly, if history is any good indication, it's not likely that we're going to get some change or different buttons on this at all. Likely it's going to be the same standard concave buttons that we've always got on Arcade1Up products, but it does show some different convex style buttons, which is personally my personal preference for arcade style buttons, but it's a flip of the coin whether we get upgraded buttons or not. But honestly, like I said, if history is any indication, chances are probably not likely to happen. Get a top-down shot here. You notice there is no Wi-Fi button. I would not expect this to have Wi-Fi whatsoever, because essentially they'd be shooting themselves in the foot offering Wi-Fi on a smaller, cheaper version of something that they're trying to sell to people in a larger scale at a higher cost. One thing to note here on the left-hand side, we have a headphone jack here. So you got your 3.5mm headphone jack on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, we have a USB port. Now this USB port is to plug in a controller, a USB controller, PlayStation, Xbox controller, things like that. So you can use a standard gamepad as opposed to the actual joystick. Now that is both a positive and a negative in my opinion, because number one, the screen size on this is going to be 8 inches. It does have a light-up marquee. These will have light-up marquees, these new Countercades. However, if they didn't improve the screen over previous release Countercades, it's going to have an issue, because those were not the greatest displays. They had really poor viewing angles from side to side, and if you've got two adults or even two kids huddled around these new Countercades trying to get side angles at these, and they didn't change the screen to something like a higher IPS screen, a higher quality screen, then you're gonna have a bad time. So fingers crossed they've changed the screens over previous releases, and they didn't just take their standard monitor, turn it horizontally. But it is what it is. $179 is going to be the MSRP on all these new Countercades. Now that MSRP was sent to me before they started doing these price hikes, so we'll see if that MSRP stands, but honestly I think it probably likely is going to stand. So $179.99 is what you're going to get. Light up marquee, 2-player control deck, the headphone port, and the USB controller connection option there on the right hand side. And NBA Jam wasn't the only one. We got Marvel Superheroes. This time we got a 6-button layout, of course. There is not a game listing for any of these. I would fully expect NBA Jam to come with, 2 versions of NBA Jam. Marvel Superheroes probably comes with a couple of games. None of these are just going to come with just one game. There is no game listing as of today, as of the making of this video, but I can assure you, you're going to get more than one game on these new Countercades. They do look great. The aesthetic and everything, it's essentially the 3/4 scale arcade, just shrunken down on the countertop version. Great space-saving option. Depending on how big your hands are, though, getting 2 adults trying to play around an 8-inch screen, even with that winged out control deck, is definitely going to be a hit or miss thing for people. But, if you got limited space and limited funds, these are for you. Then we got Mortal Kombat. Again, Mortal Kombat showing that USB port here on the right-hand side. Got the headphone jack on the left-hand side. Once again, they do come with light-up marquees, which is a nice feature. Got the button layout here. That run button is really close to the edge, so unless you're playing a lot of that run button activity in Mortal Kombat, I would strongly advise not using that run button, but thankfully it doesn't, it isn't applicable for all the games. Not only did we get Mortal Kombat, we also got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this one does come with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time, so essentially you're getting both of the games that you got on the original release. Same games that are coming on that $600 version that has Wi-Fi. The only difference here was this has 2-player controls versus 4-player controls, and this doesn't have Wi-Fi. You're not getting little things like a light-up deck protector, but you are getting a light-up marquee. Nickelodeon branding there on the front. Got green and red. Not really sure why they chose green and red. Hopefully that changes. Again, this is a digital mock-up and not an actual photo sample, but you know, it is what it is. You would have thought they would have chose something besides green, but I'm just nitpicking there. You know, I'm saying, hey, let's pick a color for a turtle. My favorite turtle, Donatello, would have been my suggestion. But good looking Countercade. Again, $179. If you got, you know, low on funds, low on space, this is a great opportunity, especially considering that $600 version that only has 2 games. Sure, it has Wi-Fi and some other bells and whistles, but it's still 2 games. So not only do we get new Countercades, we also get this new countertop Pong machine. Now this is not to be confused with a previous Pong machine they've already released. So they released this mini Pong by Unis. Essentially Unis made it and they just distributed it. Different machine altogether. So this is Pong for all intents and purposes. You know exactly what you're getting with Pong. You're getting your spinner for both players. You get buttons on the left and right hand side. You get your start on the left hand there, your on and off, and your volume switch. Obviously no light up marquee here. Doesn't even have a marquee. I don't see any spot for a headphone jack. Yet again, this is a digital render, but Pong's not really known for its, you know, super immersive soundtrack. So if you didn't have a headphone jack, would it really be the end of the world? Probably not. And as always, you know, I always got to point this out because Arcade1Up, they put out these mock-up photos and they send them out to retailers and everything, and no one ever proofreads it. So you're like, hey, cool, we got a spinner and 2 buttons on the left-hand side, which is the exact opposite of what the other picture shows. There's a spinner in the middle and a button on the left and a button on the right. So I would suspect the button on the left and the button on the right with the spinner in the middle is going to be what the actual product ships and what it looks like. But I always got to point out, hey, for God's sakes, proofread your stuff before you send it out to the retailers, Arcade1Up, because this is confusing to the consumers when they see conflicting images like this. And besides Countercade, I know everybody's asking, where's Killer Instinct? Where's Killer Instinct? Well, we don't really have an ETA on that still. Fully expected to be released right before Christmas in 2021, but we do have some more details here where you're getting the matching riser, the exclusive stool, and it has a light up deck protector. So you're getting all the bells and whistles, whether you want it or not. Here's a look at the stool, very basic, very bare bones, literally bones guy on the seat. You see what I did there, dad joke. Killer Instinct logo on the rim of the seat, but this is going to be, you know, it's going to be a $600-700 machine for you, especially with these price hikes. So fully expect to see a pre-order for all the bells and whistles. $699 showing up later, right before Christmas, assuming there isn't any shipping snafus. So you're going to pay a pretty penny for it, but everybody wants Killer Instinct, so that's what you're going to get. Not only do they have Killer Instinct, they got Tron. One specific thing I liked here is it has the light up deck protector and the black light responsive ink note here. So that's pretty cool. We got the images of the Tron stool, the Tron cabinet, some nice glam shots. The joystick actually does light up, which is great. It does show, you know, some black light glow underneath the marquee. There is, to this date, nothing listing on this specific listing or any other previous website retailer leaks that say this comes with any sort of black light. So it does mention that the ink, the printing, the art is black light reflective. That doesn't necessarily mean that this comes with a black light. That could just be a cheap LED strip that's turned on to purple underneath there, and you have to provide your own black light, which to me wouldn't really be too much of a deal breaker, because let's be real. You can go to Walmart, buy a black light bulb for like $1.38 or something like that. It's not going to be the end of the world. Would it be awesome if it included a black light? Absolutely. But even here, again, once again, digital mock-up, so this is not an actual product shot, but you see what looks like an LED or a black light underneath that marquee shining down on the control deck, which is exactly what you would want and hope for in a Tron arcade cabinet, specifically one that's made to look exactly like the original. So looking great. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I need this cabinet, not because I absolutely enjoy the games, just because the artwork, the aesthetic, it's a piece of art to me. It's a piece of arcade history, and it's going to look great, specifically if it does have a black light in it. It's just going to add to that arcade ambiance. And then we got to look at some head-to-head cocktail cabinets. So these are actually pretty cool. I've always been a fan of one. I've got a modded one. I love it. It's a really unique way to play the games. This doesn't have a game listing shown in the item description or anything like that, but you can easily decipher it. So you're getting X-Men, Children of the Atom, Mutant Apocalypse, War of the Gems, and the Punisher. And then you go over the other side. You're getting Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and of course, Marvel vs. Capcom. So you're getting 8 in 1. You're getting great fighters. Nice little mix up there. You got, you know, the SNES game on there as well for filler. Great side-scrolling beat 'em up in the Punisher. If you're a Marvel fan, the aesthetics, the arts, and everything like this, the art package on this thing looks great. Even got the moves list up there on the top, which is super handy for people. Specifically in, you know, these fighters, because there's just so many characters and there's so many moves to memorize. So it looks good. MSRP on this is going to be $499.99. Again, that was before the price hike. So if I was a betting man, I'd say in this 2021 COVID world we live in, this will probably turn into a $599 MSRP when it's all said and done. But the original MSRP that I was sent for these products, $499.99. So that is your Marvel head-to-head. Then, of course, Pac-Man, because who would not be shocked to see more Pac-Man from Arcade1Up? In fact, I'm not even going to talk about it. This is just a different version of a Pac-Man cabinet. We've got one that had a yellow top. We got one that had wood grain on the side. We have this. We also had the blacked out version or whatever. Now this is a blacked out version that is not upgraded in any way, shape, or form. So yet again, Pac-Man, not even going to talk about it anymore. I think you're probably sick of hearing about it, but here it is, Pac-Man again in a new head-to-head. We also got Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat head-to-head, yet again, doesn't have the game listing, but I would fully expect this to honestly probably have the exact same 12-in-1 lineup that the Midway Legacy cabinet did. At the very least, it'll have 8 games, but you're going to get more than just Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, I would assure you. But it is going to have that Mortal Kombat control layout. Obviously, you're getting the MK2 artwork. And if you're saying, hey, I want MK1 artwork, well, there's legal reasons why that can't happen. So, sorry. That's just is what it is. Mortal Kombat 2 branding all the way around it. No move listing on the top like the Marvel cabinet. And then everybody's favorite, the Arcade1Up Jr cabinet. So these are also going to be MSRP $179.99. This is something that makes everybody either happy or mad. Obviously, this isn't for adults. This is people, grandparents, somebody that's trying to entertain the kids. This is for you. If it's not for you, just move on. There's no sense in griping about it or whining about it on the internet. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It's a product, and you don't have to buy it. You're not forced to buy it, but this is what it looks like. $179. You get the Arcade1Up Jr Pac-Man, and then you also getting the Paw Patrol version. Now, don't worry, I'll put product links to all these in the video description box below, because these are just placeholders, meaning they haven't went for sale yet. But if you want to bookmark them later on, I'll put those product links down in the video description box below. So you're getting Paw Patrol. This one's got a horizontal screen, whereas the Pac-Man Jr had the vertical screen, obviously. And there's a mock-up photo of how it would look in Andy's room from Toy Story is what it almost looks like. But that's your lifestyle image. So giant buttons, giant plastic, everything around. So it'll be interesting to see if the people that are actually marketed towards this, what they think about this when it actually comes out. And that is it for today's little video information roundup. Guys, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on these new products. Are you going to pick them up? Do you think they're too pricey? Do you think they're priced just right, Goldilocks style? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found the information helpful, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and as always, thanks for watching, guys. It really means a lot.